Kiara, when you say become the leader of your life, what exactly does that mean to you?
I think living with purpose every single day, choosing purpose. Did you want me to elaborate?
Yes.
Okay. So I think for so many years, when you're not the leader of your life, you don't really know it until you do become the leader of your life, because then you can make that comparison. So for me, being the leader of your life is being able to accept the fact that you're not exactly where you want to be, but knowing that you're going to get there. So being willing to make mistakes, being okay with the fact that people are going to judge you, right? Because I think, again, we literally live our lives day to day fearing judgment. Let's be real. Every single person in this world fears judgment in one way or another. You need to be okay with the fact that you fear judgment rather than saying, I don't fear judgment. Just be okay with it and just live your life with purpose every single day. And that allows me to be a leader in every aspect of my life.
When did you start to become the leader of your life? When was that pinpoint moment?
Very recently. It was 2024 May when I went on my solo trip. So I booked a solo trip to Croatia. Booked it not because I wanted to go on a solo trip, but booked it because I needed a solo trip. The reason being my insecurities got the better of me again. After 14 years of my insecurities getting the better of me for my entire life, I got to a point where I was like, oh, actually, I'm really comfortable in my body. I'm comfortable in who I am. And then everything took a turn for the worst. So in that moment, I was like, you have two options here. Either you continue faking confidence, probably for the rest of your life, or you find what makes you confident, aside from your looks, aside from your skin, whatever it is. So booking that trip was the moment that allowed me to challenge myself in the way that I needed to be challenged. And it wasn't, that challenge wasn't something that I could do here at home, because home is comfortable. I needed to put myself in an uncomfortable situation, which is exactly what it was for the first couple of days. But it's exactly what I needed. So yeah, May last year.
So you said your insecurities got the best of you.
Mm.
Besides you lacking confidence, what were the actual insecurities you had beneath that triggered that lack of confidence?
I believed that I wasn't good enough for pretty much my entire life. And again, that didn't come down to just physical insecurities. That came down to being compared to people around me because I wasn't the smartest, or, I was the creative one that was kind of just always figuring it out, even as a kid when I was like 10 years old. So I was always, in my mind anyway, whether this is actually true or not, I always felt like I was being compared. I always felt like there was something wrong with me, something that could be fixed. So I was always trying to fix myself. It was never a self-discovery journey. It was always, okay, what can we fix today? Like, I woke up every day thinking, what can I fix? Rather than, what do I want to find out about myself? So going through that for such a long time, it made me honestly, with my mind, it was a predetermined kind of mindset. I was like, this is a fixing thing. My life will just be fixing problems, and that's it. Which was a difficult place to be.
So was this feeling before you transitioned into entrepreneurship or whilst you were in employment?
Way before employment. So because, again, as I said, this was from when I was younger. And at the time, I felt it when I was younger, like when I was a kid. I felt it, but I didn't understand it. So it was difficult for me to voice how I was feeling. It was difficult for me to even communicate how I was feeling, so I didn't. And I think because I kept quiet, it allowed me to tell myself that there wasn't a problem. So I was just like, oh, it's fine. I'm fixing things in silence by myself, so no one needs to know. I'll just do what I need to do. And then when I started to get that voice, and I think it was in employment, to be honest, because even at university, for example, I was still the quiet one. I was still the one that was different to everybody else. When I got into employment, you have to have a voice in employment, right? To an extent, you're literally thrown into the deep end and you're getting paid. So you're paid to play this role now. So again, it felt fake because I was still being paid to play a role, but now I had to play it. So yeah, I would say I felt it all the way up to employment, but employment again was the time where, and this was full-time employment, so not entrepreneurship. This was literally the last year before entrepreneurship, where I was like, okay, again, I'm in this situation, I'm role-playing, this doesn't feel real, it doesn't feel like life, and I don't like it. And I think that's when the whole leadership kind of journey started. Not in the way that I wanted it to, but I think it started from then.
not in the way you wanted it to. I think this is really interesting because you've recently pivoted.
Mm.
And that's something I do want to get into because you've spoken about how you've lacked confidence throughout the years. How did you gather that confidence to get into skin coaching first and skin confidence? And then where did that confidence come from that made you transition into leadership coaching?
People always said to me, I think it's a practice what you preach thing, because people would always say to me, once they'd seen like one of my Instagram posts, for example, they would say, "Oh my God, Kiara, how are you doing this? Like, how are you going outside with your skin looking like that? How are you so confident?" I got that question a lot from people that didn't know me in DMs, for example, on Instagram. Some random person would literally come up to me and say, "How are you so confident?" And it's never a question that I ask myself, because for a long time, I faked confidence, right? So for me, it was just almost like in robot mode. I was like, you just have to find a way to show off that you're confident today. So when I was getting those kind of messages and those inquiries, I told myself that this is it. Like, this is something that you're supposed to be doing. And I wasn't sure which avenue I was going to go down. But because my skin meant so much to me for so many years, I was like, it has to be something with your skin. Even if it's not helping people to clear their skin, although that's the avenue I went down, right? So I started off with coaching women to heal their acne naturally. So this is women who have tried everything, right? They've been on birth control, they've been on pills, they've been on this, they've been on that diet, this diet, all these things that they tried. And I just wanted more so just to help them with their mindset. Yes, okay, I was able to help them to get clear skin, but for me, it always meant more than that. It was always, okay, what does that allow you to do? So you have clear skin now. You think that's your goal, but okay, what does clearer skin and understanding your body, what does that allow you to do now? Who does that allow you to become, right? What's the next goal? But I found that a lot of people that I was working with, they didn't have that next goal. So clear skin was like on the pedestal. It was the be all end all. It's like, once I have clear skin, my life is going to change. And I thought that was the same for me. So when my skin eventually cleared and I finally figured out what was going on in my body, I thought that was going to be it. I thought I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm set for life now. But it wasn't. Literally the next day I woke up and I was like, okay, so where's the next insecurity? I was looking for the next thing to punish myself with or about. And that's when I realized that in that space, as much as I loved helping women with their skin and with their insecurities, it felt great for a good couple of months. And then I realized, I was like, I'm kind of back to where I was 14 years ago in a world where I've kind of surrounded myself with people who only care about their appearance. And that is the be all end all. So it was weird because I went through a phase of like, oh my God, this is my purpose. This is what I'm meant to do. I finally found it. And very quickly it turned into, oh, maybe this isn't it. And now what do we do? Like, what's my purpose now? How am I going to help people who still have experienced acne, but how am I going to help them past the acne? That was very difficult to navigate. Very difficult.
What does leadership coaching with you look like today?
So I got my qualification last year to as a NLP, so a master NLP mindset coach. So thank you so much. So yeah, that's a master NLP practitioner. And with NLP, it stands for neuro-linguistic programming. So it focuses very much on your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is 90% of your thoughts, of everything that's going on in the background, right? That we just don't think about. And your conscious is the 10%. So when we talk about everything that we are aware of, right? When we say, oh, I'm feeling this way, when you say, oh, I'm feeling down, for example, you know that it's in your conscious because you're consciously aware of it, right? Our subconscious beliefs genuinely drive every action, that every behavior, every action in our day-to-day lives. And because it's subconscious, we don't know, right? So we don't understand that things like our limiting beliefs, for example, right? So a belief like the one I said earlier, I'm not good enough. That can drive so much for someone, right? And because they're not aware of it, they'll get into cycles of like burnout, right? Procrastination, not feeling like they're good enough, and they won't understand why. So yeah, when I got my qualification last year, I was like, this is it. Because I got my own mindset coach, and she was also a master NLP practitioner. And through her, I realized how deep you really can get. And not just deep to the point where you're talking about your problems, but deep to the point where you're talking about your problems. You then understand what's driving those problems. You understand where those problems stem from, and you can shift that belief. so that you can actually go and do the thing that you want to do, right?
I decided to shift the narrative and ensure that we focus on serving women who want to leave employment and enter entrepreneurship. That's literally the journey that I came on myself. Left finance, left hospitality to pursue my dream of being my own boss and seeking freedom and creativity on my own terms. And that's what Her Wisdom is about. If you're that woman who's got that sudden urge inside of them, they want to be their own boss, they want that freedom, they want to have that confidence, this is the platform that you need to be on. And if you're ready to start your journey, you can start with my book. This book was birthed through the many trials and tribulations that I have faced, most of which I faced before entering entrepreneurship, some of which I faced whilst being in employment, and others that I faced whilst being a business owner. Be so good that you can't fucking break. Buy the book.
So it's not just, okay, I'm going to sit here, we're going to talk about the problem and then bye. This is, okay, you're coming to me with a problem, right? We are going to, wherever that has stemmed from, we're going to find it. Not me, I'm not going to find it. You're going to find it. I'm going to guide you through the process and we're going to shift it here and there, right? And that's something that people still don't understand about what I do, and it's really annoying, to be honest, is that I think when you term yourself as a coach, right? People think that you're going to be handheld through the process. You're going to literally drag someone through the process and get them to the other end. And with what I do, because it's subconscious reprogramming, actually my clients are doing all the work themselves. And that's why the results are so incredible, because they've done that work themselves. I'm just the person that has to guide them through it. But actually, all the transformations, they've unlocked themselves because the information is coming from them, right? And that's why it works so well, because it creates lasting change. So now I work with so many different people. Like I work with women who still have acne, right? And are insecure in their skin or have physical insecurities, right? Appearance-based insecurities. I work with business owners, right? I work with mums. Like I work with so many different people. And now I'm like, oh, this is amazing, because I get to meet so many new people and learn from their experiences, you know? So I'm literally learning every single day, but also transforming people's lives the same way that someone else transformed mine, you know? So it's, yeah, I love it.
You're probably one of the best people to answer this first question then. So Emma, who's an aspiring chef, she's asked, how do I deal with rejection? I have a hard time handling rejection, and it takes a lot for me to put myself out there. This makes facing rejection hard for me.
Ooh. Honestly, when it comes to rejection, this is one thing I want to, I'll say the big statement first, and then I'll kind of get into it. With rejection, right? And I think rejection comes under fear of judgment, right? Because you're scared that you're going to be judged by someone else for doing something or going for something. You're also scared of being rejected, right? You're scared of failing. Those three things kind of fall in the same category. With rejection, if someone rejects you, it's because if they were in your position doing what you are trying to do or doing what you are already doing, they would feel embarrassed or they would feel shame or whatever, right? So their rejection that you are fearing, it's what they would have projected onto you if they were in your position. So that's how they would feel if they were in your position, right? And I think when you think about it like that, it makes you realize that they're not rejecting you, right? It's just that they haven't done the work themselves. So if they were in your position trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do, they would feel the shame. They would feel the, like, probably limiting beliefs coming in, right? All of those sorts of things. So with rejection, I think when it comes to fearing rejection, literally one thing I would say, and one thing that has massively helped me, I ask myself why. Every single day I'm like, okay, why are you doing this? And I always think of my younger self every single time, because fear of rejection, I still get it now. But rejection for me is redirection, you know? I know a lot of people say this, but it really is true. Like rejection, I'd rather be rejected, and I look forward to rejection. I was speaking to someone the other day who's also a business owner, and he was saying that for the first time ever, he's brought out a drinks brand, and he was saying for the first time ever, someone took 5 minutes out of their own day to just slate this guy's brand, like put a video on social media, has never even tried the drink, right? And just said, oh my God, this drink has all this artificial, like whatever else in it, right? It doesn't, by the way. Like if you read the ingredients list, it doesn't. But I was having this conversation with him, and he was saying it kind of got to him initially because he was like, oh, this hasn't happened before, right? But in a way, that's also rejection. And it just means that if you've got to that stage where someone is taking 5 minutes out of their day to say something like that to you and almost like give your product, for example, that attention,
Right.
you've made it. Like, I said to him, I was like, you've made it. Someone is literally using their valuable time that they could be spending with their mom or whatever else, I don't know, to slate something that you've created. You've made it. That's how you know. So every time I get rejected, I'm like, oh, I've made it. Like someone has seen what I do and thought, I probably, I like it, but it's just not for me. So I always see it as redirection. But again, I always think about my younger self as well. Because I think we've all been, let's be real, we've all been through something, right? Whether we've told people or not. And you've just got to remember how far you've come. And that takes away that fear of rejection for me. Because I'm like, I've already achieved so much. I'm just going to achieve more anyway. So why would I be scared of being rejected?
100%. And what you said, rejection is redirection. I feel like if you're not willing to accept that rejection is going to come your way, you're not ready for success.
You can't grow.
Every win comes with some sort of failure, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading Stephen Bartlett's book, Diary of a CEO, and he said something in there along the lines of, the more you put yourself in situations where you face some sort of challenge, you will gather more and more evidence each time that you can overcome that challenge.
And it literally is stacking evidence. Mm-hmm. Exactly what you just said, it's stacking evidence, right? I'd rather get like 100 rejections than just get one, because if I just get one, I've got to now overthink that one rejection, right? If I get 100, I think about that first rejection for 5 minutes, think about the next one for 5 minutes, and I just fly through them. But if I have one rejection only, I'm going to focus on that for probably the next year of my life, right? And be like, oh my God, but this person said this, so I can't do that. I'd rather get thousands of them, genuinely. And that's not me saying that I like it. If someone says to me, I don't like what you're doing, yes, I'm going to be triggered. And we're like, why? Why don't you like it? It's a good idea. It's what I do is amazing, but I would rather get 1,000 than one. Mm-hmm. And I think leading with that as well, it just builds up your resilience so much to the point where you don't fear rejection anymore. You kind of almost in a weird way look forward to it because you have so much self-belief, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't internalize the rejection.
Right.
I think that's another thing, right? We can very easily internalize rejection, or we could just see rejection as simply rejection. And that's it. You just move past it. So it's also when you internalize things like that, then that's when it becomes an issue.
So for someone like Emma who's stepping away from employment and wants to get into doing her own thing, her own creative thing, how can she commit to doing that in practical terms? How can she deal with rejection practically, apart from putting herself in situations where she has to face it more and more often? Because that's what I would say to her.
You would say to put herself in situations where
she'll face it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that will build resilience.
I think practically the one thing that I would probably say to do is either write down what she's scared of being rejected for. Because this is something that I've actually started doing recently, and I didn't do for a very long time. I don't know why. But it's advice that I got from some of my friends. And they said that every time you are kind of stuck in these feelings, because obviously, again, fear of rejection is a massive feeling, right? So when you write something down, and this doesn't have to be journaling either, it could literally be getting out a notepad and just writing it down. As soon as something is out of your mind and it's visually in front of you so you can see it, it makes so much more sense. Like, I get a lot of clarity when something is visually in front of me compared to when it's in my mind. So I'd say get into the habit of every single day being very honest with yourself and writing down, okay, what am I scared of being rejected for today? Right? And just getting it out of your mind, because then when you can physically see it, you can kind of play it out, and you could look at how to avoid that maybe, or how to tackle it head on, right? Depending on what it is that, she's doing. But I don't think it needs to be this thing, because I wouldn't say to, like Emma, for example, I wouldn't say, oh yeah, go out and pitch yourself to everybody on the street and all this stuff, because it's just so unrealistic, right?
Yeah, that is unrealistic.
When you're leaving in unemployment, when you're leaving employment, it's a very scary and big jump. Naturally, you're going to be scared. I don't think you shouldn't not be. I think you should be scared. But you need to use that fear as passion and use it as purpose, So I think very, very, very simple and slow things that you can eventually accumulate. So for example, writing that one thing down every day, right? And asking yourself that question, being honest with yourself. Once you've done that for a week, you might feel much more comfortable in who you are as a person and your idea or whatever it is that you're starting, right? The business that you're starting. And then you can start doing something else the next week and you kind of habit stack. That's something that I love doing. Like habit stacking is something that has saved my life when it comes to entrepreneurship and self-employment, because there's a lot of things that are on your mind, you know?
No, definitely.
So, yeah, I think just building slowly, but being very honest with yourself from the start. Because if you're not honest with yourself from the start, a year's time in, yeah, your business could be thriving. But if it's not purpose-driven and you don't really understand why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to fall into those loopholes, you know?
That's so true. I was so scared when I was
terrified
getting into entrepreneurship away from employment. But again, I feel like you face more rejection in entrepreneurship than you do in employment.
100%. 100%. Because I think, you know, when people say you're building a personal brand, I feel like we can't escape personal brands anymore to an extent. So I think even when you're building a business, again, if it's purpose driven and you love it that much or that passionate about it, people are going to want to hear your story as well as the business's story. And I think that's why when it comes to personal brands, it's your identity, right?
Right.
It's your identity. And I think that's something that I also say to a lot of my clients is your business cannot be your identity. You've got to have your separate personal identity away from your business. But I think when you're starting out with entrepreneurship, right, it's very easy to just link the two. All of a sudden, when someone asks you, oh, like, you know, who are you? Tell me something about yourself. The first thing you'll say is, oh, yeah, I have this business, or oh, yeah, I have this idea sort of thing, right? And you haven't even said anything about yourself. So it's very easy to kind of get caught up in that link. And that's another thing that I would say when you're first getting into entrepreneurship, and it's a mistake I made as well, is trying to still give yourself time to do things that are completely away from the business so that you still are figuring out yourself as a person, you know? Because, yeah, with personal brands, people want to know you. They don't want to know the orders that you're getting on your business. Like, people don't care.
True.
They don't care. Let's be so real.
How do you stay patient while building something, especially when you've been putting in the hard work? This is from Shauna, who's a marketing professional.
How do you stay patient what was the question?
When you're building something, especially when you've been putting in the hard work. I would say remember your why. Remember the purpose behind what you're doing. That's what will help you to stay patient. Because if you're just seeking instant gratification, seeking the now, oh my God, it's not coming now, so I must be failing or it must be going wrong, then you're going to forget the reason why you started doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
And that can derail you. That can derail you off your path. So I would say remember your why.
I think also just remembering that you're building, right? It's the same as building a house. When someone like is getting an extension done or something, the builder's not going to tell you, oh yeah, it will be done tomorrow. They'll say, yeah, it's going to be done in 10 months, or it's going to be done this time next year, right? So it's the same thing. I think you need to remind yourself that you're building something, meaning you have no idea how long it's going to take. Rain could fall, right? Like a storm could come, meaning it might take 2 years, it might take 3 years. Like it's the same concept in a business. And when you're trying to build even if it's a personal brand that you're building, right, or trying to become a content creator or whatever it is, you need to remind yourself that you're building something literally from scratch, right? See it as Lego almost. And again, I think that takes the pressure off you a little bit, because when you are building something from scratch, it starts off very small, right? Meaning any bit of wind, and even if it's the smallest bit of wind, something will get knocked off, right? But when it's this tall, that little bit of wind can't have that same impact, you know? But
How do you stay patient?
Honestly, I started setting a lot of boundaries for myself about 6 months into entrepreneurship, because for the first 6 months, I was very much like that second question that you just read out. I was impatient, and I was telling myself that everything had to be done in 6 months and I had to be earning silly amounts and have the success and whatever else in 6 months. And when I started setting boundaries, so when I say boundaries, I mean, I know myself really well now. And because I know myself very well, it means I can set boundaries. Like I know how much sleep I need every night, for example, like roughly. And I know that if I don't get that sleep, I know the next day is going to be impacted, right? Another way I was patient is my Google Calendar is my savior when it comes to my life. Not even just my work anymore, like my life. So everything is in my Google Calendar. And what I've done is I've put and set aside certain days for different tasks. So for example, I'll have one day where I'm working on the business and one day where I'm working in the business. So that's client calls, for example, right? That's in the business. I'll have one day which is my Mondays. My Mondays is working on the business. So I'm not speaking to any clients. I'm literally working on building, right? Like where is my business going? Where is this vision for me, myself, and the business? And when I did that, when I broke things down, it allowed me to also break down the whole journey. So instead of me saying, okay, if I do everything and work in 23 hours a day for the next year, I'll be here in a year's time. The time difference wasn't that different. So the way that I do things now, I still get loads of time for me. I still get time to do whatever I want to do. And actually, my plan is for the next 5-10 years, right? So it's not like I'm saying just because I've taken some time for myself, now in 50 years' time is when it's going to be successful. It's only 5-10 years. That's my plan because I've planned it all out. So actually, would I rather not be patient, try and make it all work in a year and probably kill myself at the same time? Or would I rather enjoy the entire process? Obviously, the downs are the downs, can't do anything about that. But would I rather enjoy the process, do it my way, and get there in 10 years? You know? And that's allowed me to be so patient now. Because I'm like, well, today's that day. You've set that boundary. Don't let your head, don't let your mind kind of run the field here. Do what you need to do, get it done, and then go do whatever else you want to do after that.
What keeps you the most grounded in your mission, you would say? You think about it and you're like, that is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Every time I think back to my acne self, every time, because I said this to someone yesterday, actually. I went to an event and I was saying that the trauma of acne will actually never go away for me. And when I say the trauma of acne, I don't mean that I'm waking up every day in physical trauma, but the feelings that having acne, such severe acne, and everything I was pushed toward and forced to do when I had acne, being able to relate back to all of that, it reminds me of how far I've come and how in control of my life I really am. Because when I had my acne, I was so out of control of my life. It is insane. Like I had no control over anything. I really didn't. And at the time, it felt like I did. It felt like I was like, oh yeah, well it's okay. I'm figuring it out and I'm making some decisions here and there. But looking back, I do realize how bad it was. And I'm doing it for her. Like I really am doing it for her as much as I'm doing it for everyone else. And I do want to help as many people as possible. Genuinely, that is my mission. Like I want to help and impact as many people as possible, but I'm doing it for her every single time. And because of the subconscious work that I do, the work that I do with my clients, I can also do with myself to an extent. Obviously, it's better when you have a coach doing it for you, but I can do it with myself. So sometimes I almost like take myself back and revisit my younger self, and I can visualize it and I can see how much pain she was in, and her being able to see me now and see what we're doing. She's so proud of what she's achieved because she didn't think she was ever going to be able to do anything like this, right? Like speaking on a stage, right? Speaking at events, like I'm speaking at your event soon, right? Someone who has acne and severe acne that's really kind of killed off their confidence would never, ever, ever thinks that they could ever do anything like that, right? So, yeah, I don't speak to my younger self, but I definitely go and visit my younger self and just remind her of where we are, what we're doing.
Do you have a coach?
I actually don't anymore, but it's not something that I would... Like, I think I'd like to get another one. I'd like to get another mindset coach or go back to my mindset coach. Not because I feel like I need her, just because it's quite a nice feeling to know that you've got someone there who's ready to pick you up when you do fall down a little bit. Because I say this for my clients as well, it's an investment in yourself. Like when I say this even on sales calls, I'm like, this isn't a cost. I don't want you to see this as an expense. I want you to see it as an investment. And if you don't see it as an investment, I don't want to work with you because it shows me where your mindset is already. And I can't help someone who sees this as something that's already holding them back. Like I need you to be invested in investing in yourself, right? So it's just the same with me. Like practice what you preach, right? I have no fear of investing in myself. Like any amount of money sort of thing. I'm not saying I have any amount of money, but I have no fear of investing in myself. So yeah, if I felt like I needed my mindset coach again, I would happily reach out to her tomorrow and be like, yeah, I want to start up again for 6 months or a year or whatever else. Because I do see the huge benefit in it, you know. And I think when I first did mindset coaching, I told myself, because she gave me like a 6 month kind of mark. So she said, okay, we're going to start here and we're going to go for 6 months. And I told myself that after 6 months, again, my life would have changed and I'll be the most amazing person ever and I won't need a mindset coach ever again because I'll be flourishing. And as much as I did achieve so much in that 6 months, I wouldn't say I was at a stage where everything was figured out, you know, because I was still very much in the early stages of my entrepreneurship journey. So yeah, with a mindset coach, I feel like everyone needs a mindset coach. I'm going to be so real.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone needs a mindset coach. I know not everyone can, you know, it's not accessible for everybody, but I think everyone needs one, personally, including myself.
I feel like every entrepreneur needs a coach or even a therapist.
Just something,
Exactly.
right?
Like coaching is an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
When the clients are paying for coaching, they're not necessarily buying you, they're buying the outcome.
They're buying into the better version of themselves,
Exactly.
right?
They're buying into the outcome that they know you can give to them.
Yeah.
And even as entrepreneurs, I feel like if we are not continuing, even as coaches, if we are not continuing to learn, then we're not going to be the best coaches for our clients.
No.
We need to have someone that we can fall back on to and learn from so that we can serve our clients more.
That
What
was
do you
the
think?
difference for me. Oh my God. That just unlocked something in me. So when I was coaching women to heal their skin, right, and to clear their skin, I'd done it already. So I wasn't learning anything new. I was just doing not the same process that I did for myself, because obviously I looked at their individual factors, but I wasn't learning anything from them, really. I was just taking them through the process, getting them to clear skin or confidence or whatever it was, and that was it, right? Whereas now I said that because I'm working with, like, the pool of people I can work with now has been opened up massively. Because I say this when I walk into rooms now, I'm like, I could help anyone in this room. Anyone. And I know that for a fact. Like, anyone in any room, I can help, right? So the pool of people now that I can speak to, the conversations that I'm having now compared to the conversations I was having before, I feel like I do actually learn something every day. And you know how, when we were younger, people like said that you have to learn something every day. I don't feel like I used to learn something every day, genuinely, because I was so stuck in my own thoughts that I was just so concerned with myself and the way that I looked and the way I was going to be perceived. I didn't even give myself a chance to learn something new. So now, learning something new every single day, it's not like I'm even trying. It just happens because of the environments I put myself in and the people that I work with. So I just want that to continue and grow and build, you know, because it's a good place to be in, and it challenges you, right? I feel like as entrepreneurs, we also need to be challenged every single day. I feel like if you haven't been challenged every single day, even if it's the smallest challenge in the world, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, you're literally asking for challenges, right? Like, you're starting something new, you're building something yourself, you're asking for challenges. Because otherwise you would just settle and work a 9 to 5 that you kind of maybe don't love. So I embrace challenges as well, as much as I don't love them, but I do embrace them.
Yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self? This is from Greta, who's a musician.
I'd love to be a musician. God, I say so many things. Every time you say younger self, I always think about my acne self. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because there were other things about me. But again, because my acne took up so much of everything that happened in my childhood, it is the first thing that I see when you say younger self. Honestly, I would say leave. And that is, one word, leave. And when I say that, I mean leave anything that's not serving you and have the confidence to do that. Because I didn't. Only recently, actually, I realised that my first group of friends, I was the only brown girl in my group of friends until I found my real friends, who I'm still friends with now from school. Like, we've been friends for 14, 15 years now. But in my first group of friends, I was being, like, racially targeted by my friends, as in jokes were being made about my culture, accents were being thrown around, and I just took it. I took it because of the acne. I took it because I already felt like I wasn't good enough, and I felt like I wasn't going to be able to find anybody else. So and that was for a good couple of years. And looking back now to my younger self, I'd say leave. Because if I left that friendship group earlier on, I feel like I'd be so much further in life than I am now, potentially. And I feel like I would have found my actual friends probably sooner. I know everything happens for a reason, but genuinely, I think to my younger self, I'd just say leave and have the confidence to do it. Just open the door and leave. Mm-hmm. You know?
I think I would say to care less about what other people think. I feel like now, looking back at my own life, self-acceptance is definitely the foundation for freedom and success. I have always been bound by how other people would perceive me, how if I do something wrong, what would other people think, which stopped me from even starting my business, stopped me from leaving employment sooner. So yeah, I would definitely say care less. And I feel like nowadays everyone cares about what other people think, like the example that you just gave with your younger self. Everyone cares about what other people think. And it's like, why?
Yeah, but they don't ask themselves why.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Why?
Like we stop at, oh my God, people are going to judge me, or oh my God, what are people going to think? And we never say, okay, but like we never ask ourselves, why am I feeling that way? We just leave it at that. And then that allows us to live our life that way every single day. So I think that's another problem that we have at the moment with with entrepreneurs, but also just wider than that, is that people have forgotten to dig deeper. Like everything is so surface level.
You hit the nail on the head
nowadays.
there.
Yeah, everything is so surface level. Obviously with social media as well, right? Let's be so real. Like social media has not helped in any way, shape or form when it comes to surface level stuff. And I think even with attention spans and all those sorts of things, like everything is so surface level. I used to have, even now, sometimes, for example, when I have a conversation with someone, I can tell whether that person is worth my time or not, as bad as it sounds, because I feel like I can walk into conversations now just by looking at someone. Sometimes I'm like, I already know this isn't worth my time because I know it's going to be such a surface level conversation. And
What is it? What is it that makes you straight away see that they're not going to be worth it?
It's the way that they approach me sometimes. So for example, if someone approaches me and there's no smile, or there's no, sometimes you know when you can see it in someone's eyes that they've got some sort of drive, they've got something that they want to bring to the conversation.
Right.
Sometimes when you can't see that, I look at people sometimes and I'm like, I'm not sure. Like, what are you going to bring to this conversation? And I know that sounds quite judgy, but it's because of experience, because I've had so many conversations now with so many different people in different industries and whatever else. And it's normally the first 5 seconds when someone will say, hi, how are you? And as soon as someone says, how are you? I'm just like, like, where is this going? And normally, because I feel like now, I have a lot of conversations where the first question I don't normally just ask, how are you? I'm normally like, oh my God, I'm so excited for, whatever it is we're doing or whatever it is we're going to talk about or whatever else. But it's an energy thing as well. I don't know if you've noticed that being in different spaces now, I guess, because again, with entrepreneurship, you kind of put yourself in different spaces, right? When you're around people who also have a purpose and also want to build something, you kind of forget the, hi, how are you? All that, surface level stuff. And you get straight into it. And I feel like I really thrive when someone, again, challenges me. So when I'm challenged to almost talk about myself straight away and talk about not how I am and how my day's going, but what I'm doing, what my purpose is and all those sorts of things, it challenges me. But I know that conversation is going to go deeper because that person has challenged me to ask that question. So yeah, it's hard to avoid, but I try and avoid those kind of surface level people and conversations now where I can, because it just doesn't serve me.
I feel like being able to challenge yourself as well as other people comes from being curious.
Yeah.
I have tried now, well, I'm not going to say tried, I am mastering the art of seeking more answers, not just saying, how are you today? What you been up to? How are you feeling today? What thoughts have been going through your head? What activities have you been up to? And I've been trying to do that with family and friends, because I feel like you said, surface level questions give you surface level answers and surface level results.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Oh my God. Honestly, because it's, as you just said, for families, like even just for families, it makes such a big difference. Like the messages you should see my messages with my clients, right? Obviously when I first start off with my clients, they're in a very, very different stage to when we finish or when we continue or whatever, right? When we get to that kind of 6-month mark. And a lot of the time for the first 4 weeks, I'd say first month, it is a lot of hand holding because it's new to them, right? This whole concept is new to them. And having someone there solely for, they're not a family member, they're not a friend, like it's just a coach, right? Yeah. So having someone there is new for them. And the conversations are very, oh, I don't know what to do. Like I'm really overwhelmed about this and I've got to do this and, but this is happening. And so I can't do all these things at the same time. And every time my answers are so blunt, but when someone says to me, one of my clients, for example, says, I just don't feel good today. Like something is not clicking. I just like, why? I just say, why? And literally, if you look at the conversation, it's just massive paragraph, why?
Yeah,
massive paragraph, why?
Literally helps you get to the
because
deeper
then they're
root.
thinking, yeah, I could say, oh yeah, it's fine, don't worry, we'll try again tomorrow. Who am I as a coach to do that? Like I want them to really, and the thing is, if they don't give me the answer I want, I'll tell them, I say, this isn't what I'm looking for. Why? Like why? And I'll say why as many times as I need to. It takes me 5 seconds to type it, right? But it transforms people because they have to give you an answer eventually. Even if it takes 10 tries, eventually they have to tell you the why. And they have to figure it out for themselves, as you said. You've got to understand it yourself before you can even begin to open up to other people about it. So yeah, I ask a lot of whys. And I also like people to ask me why. So yeah.
Kiki, let's end with something fun.
Okay.
I've got a new game round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's called red flag or green flag.
All right.
I'm going to say scenarios or characteristics. You're going to tell me which category it goes in for you. Okay?
Is this like a quick situation?
Yeah, so quick, but I might ask you why if I'm intrigued, okay? Okay, so not going to the gym at all.
Red.
I think we know why, so I'm not going to ask. Going to the gym 7 days a week.
Red.
Why?
Because I feel like the gym with 7 days a week, you don't need to go 7 days a week, really. Like, let's be so real. You could find other things. Find other things is my why. You don't need to go to the, people say, yes, I'm going to the gym for my mental state or whatever. Like it's a release for me. I really enjoy it. Cool. Go 6 days a week. What can you do on the 7th day? Go do something else, in my opinion.
You know what? That is true. Because I was going to say...
If you like the gym that much, if you like being active,
yeah,
there's so many active things you can do. Go swimming. Take a friend and go swimming. Because a lot of people go to the gym by themselves, right? Most people go to the gym by themselves. Do something with someone. Be social. Find something that you can do with somebody else. Just 1 day of the week.
But what if they can go to the gym to be social?
Do you know people
Activities,
that do that?
You know what? There's scenarios like that.
Oh, really? Oh,
I'm just playing devil's advocate. Okay, so being competitive.
Green.
Why?
Because I feel like if you're not competitive, right? Being competitive it's a spark thing. Like I like to have a spark. I like to be keeping up with things, right? If I'm not keeping up with anything, what am I doing? I'm staying, like I'm plateauing. I'm staying in the same lane. So I'd say green because so long as you understand where the competitiveness is coming from.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like I think being competitive with your friends, for example, I don't think that's a great place to be. But I think if you have a natural competitiveness to want to better yourself rather than be better than everyone else, for me, that's green. But if you're trying to be better than everyone else, that's red.
What do you mean by trying to be better than everyone else?
Like I think if you're being competitive just for the sake of outdoing other people, right? Like seeing their wins and being like, I'm only doing this because they're doing it, so I'm going to do better than them. And that's where the competitiveness sparks from. In my opinion, you're constantly chasing then. And that can get very tiring, right? And also, again, it's not normally purpose-led. Like if you're chasing, I like to get to a level with competitiveness where I'm attracting rather than having to chase. So it's like, yeah, I have that competitive nature, but I want that competitive nature for other people, for example, to see that spark that I was talking about.
Right.
So that I attract things rather than having to just chase something because someone else is doing it. You know what I mean? So I feel like competitive in terms of that spark that I was talking about is green, whereas competitive, you're trying to just outdo other people just for the sake of outdoing other people for a status thing is red.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, hopefully that clarifies it.
Being assertive.
Green.
Why?
You just got to know what you want, right? Like you got to know what you want and you got to be able to say it. It's like it's as simple as that. If you don't know what you want, what are you doing every single day? Like you wake up and what? it's so simple. If you don't know what you want and you can't with conviction, be like, yep, I want it. I'm going for it. I'm going to get it. It's hard to kind of make any other aspect of your life make any sense.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Last one, being opinionated.
Green.
Why?
Challenges. Again, I think when you're opinionated, you get challenged. If you're not challenged, you can't grow. If you're not opinionated, no one's going to challenge anything that you're saying. You're not going to challenge yourself, right? So once you're being challenged, you can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. You've been amazing, Kiara.
Thank you so much for having me.
This episode was long overdue.
It really was. We were talking about it months ago. Yeah. So very long overdue, but thank you so much for having me.
Mm-hmm. Tell everyone where they can find you and what is next for Kiara.
So you can find me on my Instagram, is probably the best page. So that's healing.with.key. So healing with key. And what's next for Kiara? There's something that's in the works, which literally, when I was talking about my younger self,
yeah,
there may or may not be a skincare line in the works.
Oh,
yeah. So stay tuned, because it's very purpose driven. So
right.
it's something that you have never seen before. Not something that no one has ever seen before. But yeah, that's in the works. Putting it out there.
I'm so excited because that is your bag,
It is my bag. Look
that
at my
is your
skin.
bag. Mm-hmm.
It's my bag. It really is. And again, I'm not just doing it because now I have clear skin, and it's not about that. It's my younger self always wanted that, right? If I can say to my younger self, we had acne for 14 years, we doubted ourselves for 14 years, and now we have a global sellout skincare brand.
Period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great feeling. And it's always been my dream. So I'm going to make it happen. But yeah.
Last thing before we leave, what's one piece of advice you can give to any woman who wants to leave employment and enter entrepreneurship? Just one.
Find someone who wants to do the same thing. I was very lucky in my sense. Me and my best friend, we became best friends through work. We were put in the same team. We gave in our resignation and left on the same day. Literally on the same day. And now we're both pursuing completely different things, but we're both so happy and so content in who we are. We really fully understand ourselves now. So find someone who wants to do the same thing, because I think taking that leap of faith by yourself, you can do it. But if you can do it with someone else and just have someone to be able to speak to who can relate to how you're feeling and just support you, right? Just be there for support the same way that you can be there to support them. It just makes the process so much easier. Because corporate is not an easy place to be when you're trying to leave, when they're trying to pin you down. So yeah, find someone who has the same mindset and find someone who wants to do something similar. That's what I would say.